happy Sunday, beautiful people. I hope everyone is safe, warm, and well. Wanted to come on to share something that kind of hit me. It's a reality that I kind of ignored, but I have to realize. We need to know the difference between cooperation and control. See, based on my life observation, many people walk around trying to control others. They're trying to control certain circumstances. And then they lose self-control or they get upset because things are not falling in place like they want them to fall in place. So let me give you a little example. Like we know babies, they come out with their own personality. Now, of course, we know they have basic needs, the feeding, the making sure they're dry, making sure they're well and comfy and safe. But there are moments where babies will cry and you can give them all the comfort, all the things they want, or you think they want, but they still find a reason to cry. So in our minds, we're thinking, okay, let's control this noise. Let's control the way the baby is responding and acting and let's give them a bottle. And then the baby take the bottle and throw it across the room. Or maybe a pacifier and spit the pacifier out. And then after a while, when you decide to, pick the baby up and cradle and pat the baby on the back, yes, the baby may still cry. But then notice after a while, the baby start to calm down and cooperate. Not because you control the crying. The baby just decided to cooperate. So with that being said, if you, when I say if you, it kind of, hits me too. A lot of the things that come to me is more advice, not just for you guys, but it's also for me too. But if you cannot control what animals do, if you cannot control the weather, even though there are governmental officials, that try to create these scientific type of devices and machines to create certain weathers, but sometimes they can't control it 100% fully on what it may do and where it may go. When you know that things are really uncontrollable and you have control over how you respond to the things in your environment. Like, for an example, if you know that you're going to get bad weather, right? You don't know really the outcome. You can't really control how cold it may get. You can't control that it may freeze up your pipes and your pipes might burst. You can't control how long it's going to be cold outside, but you can control how you respond to all of the stressors that's going on in your life, right? And this is where I don't understand why men, they come into our lives thinking that, oh, I'm going to control this bitch and I'm going to tell her what to do. I'm going to, I'm going to flash money in her face. I'm going to spoil her and then I'm going to, dog her out and I'm going to be able to still control her with the stuff that I have. Men, if you can control a woman with materialism, that is a woman that do not have any self-worth. That is a woman that is more focused on looking good instead of feeling good. Now, that might be a temporary feel good, but that is not a long-term feel good. Okay, just because a guy offers you a fat diamond, it may feel good for that moment because you're feeling special. But then what happens when he makes a poor choice and decide to go and sleep with another woman and give a woman that he's sleeping with maybe diamond earrings? It's like, do you still feel good? Because this is how I see it. Things come and go, right? And a lot of times you can't control that. You can control how you respond to certain behaviors from others. Yes, you can control yourself, but you cannot control what a man would do. You cannot control his surroundings. Like, you can't control the women that's hungry and thirsty, that purposely try to flirt and purposely try to compete and prove a point. You can't control a man with a weak mind that's easily influenced, that's willing to do whatever it takes to get validation because his upbringing was, something that there was something he went through that he lacked. You can't control that, but you can control how your mentality receive the information or respond to the action. And that's not control. That is called cooperating with the divine. That's cooperating with whoever you consider your your guide, your God, your leader, whoever you believe in, you're cooperating with the circumstance. Because look, sometimes we feel like, okay, if I go out my way, I do all these sexual things, favor for my man, I try my best to show him I'm faithful, I'm always keeping track, keeping tabs, I'm following him everywhere, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then you get, disappointed because things are not going the way you want it to go. Okay? A lot of times the divine is trying to teach you a lesson. This is where life lessons come in at. This is what a lot of people have a hard time accepting. This is why we get a lot of people being impulsive, a lot of people making poor choices. They end up locked up because they're fighting over something, trying to steal, trying to kill, all the deadly sins. They're trying to eat the pain away, addictions. This is how many people try to respond to things that they can't control. And all you have to do is cooperate with the circumstance. I'm not saying that you got to be a flunky or don't try to put your best foot forward. I'm just saying you got to cooperate with your spirit guides. You got to cooperate with whoever you believe in. I already did my spiel on the difference between our ancestors, the spirit guides, and Jesus. I'm not going back through that whole lesson. You just got to, go back through my previous videos. Like I said, I can't control who accept the information I give. I can't control how many viewers I get. I just take what I accept what I have, and I work with what I have, and then I move accordingly. And that's what it is. That's how it is. You can't control how the government put chemicals in our foods. And it doesn't matter. Even if you decide to be a vegan, a vegetarian, a pescatarian, a meatitarian, whatever you decide to do, you can't control what the government does, but you can control your choices. When I say choices, you can control how much and how much information and how much knowledge you want to go after to heal your body from all the chemicals they put in the foods and stuff like that. Now you do have control over that. Okay? You do have control over that. But like I said, everything is the things that we experience is all about cooperation. What are you willing to work with? What are you willing to accept in your life? You can't control whether the bank shut down and you don't have access to your money. You can't control if you lose your job one day. You go into work thinking you finna clock in, and then your boss say, okay, you're no longer needed. You can't control that. You can control how you respond. You can control how you think, because you can tell your brain, okay, this ain't the only job in the world that I can get. And that goes for relationships. I can control how I respond to abuse. I can control how I respond to a cheating ass, lying ass man. I can control myself, and I can tell myself and cooperate with the divine, because like I said, there's things put in place spiritually to teach us a lesson, whether it's a good lesson or we may consider it a bad lesson. But I already told you, good brings bad and bad brings good. It's all about duality. So I don't know. I don't know how else to simplify it, but I'm hoping that you can really, really relate to where I'm coming from. We can go and depend on the government with all of their special food stamps and housings and stuff like that. But you can't control how or what you purchase. I mean, there's limitations. You can't bring in the kind of guy or have a man living with you when you're on Section 8. That's the way they're trying to control. But, a lot of people try to, work around the system. So that's what I'm trying to say. There's just things put in place, and they're thinking that, okay, it's control, but it's just cooperation. Just like when you get a speeding ticket. Okay, they feel like, okay, well, we're going to control you by taking money from out your pocket for going over the speed limit, even though the government approved for cars to be made to go beyond the speed limit. But because you didn't follow the sign, they feel like, okay, now we can control you by taking your money. Really? Do you think that's going to make a difference? But we can cooperate with the government and say, you know what? I'll go ahead and be more considerate with the way I drive. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I only drive the speed limit when I know a police is nearby. Let me stop. But other than that, y'all, it's just all about cooperation and knowing what you can control and working in a very smart, level-headed way. In life, whether it's a big experience or a little small, simple experience. That's what it's all about. So until next time, peace out with love.